the smoke, talking with the people every pitmaster knows. From backyard heroes to the Hall of Fame.
Welcome back, barbecue fans. Another week of Wise Guys Barbecue. I'm Vin Picaro, and my barbecue influencer right here, Charlie Baldwin, in the house. Say hi, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. We have we are going to kill it again today. We've got Richard Fergola from Fergalicious BBQ and rubs and sauces. And this guy, when he goes to the Hall of Fame, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's done so much. And we are going to talk to him right now. We're not going to waste any time. So let's get at it.
Bang. Welcome back, Wise Guys Barbecue fans, a podcast you can't refuse. We're here today with a very well-known world-class pitmaster, TV celebrity, founder of Fergalicious BBQ, and a teacher of countless pitmasters in the U.S. How you doing, Richard?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for being here. This is exciting. We follow your antics on the internet. You got a great vibe, and I know you do a lot with people up in New England already. But I also very interested in what you have to both teach and promote. So I thought it would be great for you to get on the tube with us and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And I got to say, I love the chairs.
Oh, thank you.
We didn't bring out the cigars and the red wine, for the whole vibe.
I was going to say, man,
you got the chairs. You got the chairs.
I love the chairs. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
So if you don't mind, catch up our audience who doesn't know you. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started. I mean, you have a great 180 in your life from teaching and administrating school into barbecue. So tell us all about that.
Yeah. So Richard Fergola, I started Fergalicious BBQ back in 2012, competition team with one of my buddies. And I was a high school special education teacher and administrator for 21 years, coached high school and college wrestling for 18 of those years, won a national championship as a college coach in 2006, helped coach the Olympic team in 2004.
What?
So education and those kind of things have always been a part of my life. And started Fergalicious in 2012, and I was still a teacher then. I wasn't coaching, but I was still teaching. And I think I taught my first barbecue class in 2015. I think we had like 37 people at the class. It was in the town that I was living in, and it was just a natural progression for me. And I took to it, like I'd been doing it my whole life, and it's, teaching is just in my blood. And fast forward to 2018, I left teaching, and I retired from coaching in 2012, and then taught until 2018. And in 2018, I was approached by some sponsors of mine that had owned an Ace Hardware, and they wanted to turn it into a barbecue supply shop. Well, they actually wanted to make it a barbecue supply shop / Fergalicious barbecue restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
So they wanted to have them in the same facility. And I didn't really want to get into the restaurant scene. And so we pitched them just to make the whole store a barbecue supply store and hire me to run it. And so I could go barbecue full time. So that's what we did, and opened that up in Olathe, Kansas, here in Kansas City, and ran that for 4.5 years. And then some other friends of mine owned some barbecue stores in Colorado and Denver called Proud Souls Barbecue and Provisions. And they came and took my class at the store I was working at, and said, "Hey, we want to open up another shop in Kansas City and have 3 stores, 2 in Denver and 1 in Kansas City. And we want to hire you to come on board with us." So they hired me to come on and do like social media and classes and the marketing and the PR side of that business, and a salesperson as well. But so I was with them for 2 years, and then they closed, and it gave me the opportunity to just go me full time. So
that's awesome.
I've got 6 rubs and 2 sauces sold worldwide. And first one came out in 2015. And now I'm a year and a half into just being me full time. And, if I want to go somewhere, I schedule a meeting with myself.
Yeah.
And,
That's always convenient.
Ask permission.
Always convenient.
All right. So tell me,
it's been great. It's been great.
Tell me, you're Italian. Where did you get your cooking skills from? Is that right from mom's kitchen? I mean, that's usually that's how it happened for me. I don't know if that's how it happened for you.
It was my mom and my grandma. So my dad's mom, my mom cooked for us all the time. So I was always watching my mom cook. But when I wanted to see like that straight up Italian cooking, I'd be at my grandma's house. And like to this day, I still have her little recipe card for her homemade meatballs and her homemade sauce, otherwise known as gravy.
Yeah.
And,
You
so
speak my language.
I've got, I got videos out there on YouTube that I did with Proud Souls of me and my mom making the meatballs and the pasta sauce together. Awesome. So, it's watching my grandma cook definitely inspired me. It wasn't really barbecue related,
right?
But I just always loved cooking and feeding people and doing that kind of thing.
Fantastic, yeah. Richard. When I read up on you and started watching some of your stuff, and I didn't really get the transition from teaching and coaching to barbecue until I saw all the classes that you. It seems like how it translates very well, coaching and teaching. Were you doing competition at that time when you decided to switch over your career, or what you were doing? Were you already competing?
Well, yes, I started my competition team Fergalicious in 2012. So I was still teaching then.
Yep.
I had just left coaching, and to kind of answer your point there about you weren't sure about the transition. The crazy thing about it was when I stopped coaching, I had about a year gap in between being done coaching and starting to compete in barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
And so for that year, it was kind of awesome because, I got to come home after school and I didn't have to go to practice. I just got to come home and hang out, and drink a beer or whatever I wanted to do.
Right. And
it was cool. But the problem is that I'm an extremely competitive person. And so, being an athlete and then being a coach, I had all those juices flowing. And when you stop coaching, you don't have that anymore. And so I was always a fan of watching the TV show Barbecue Pitmasters and watching that and watching that competition. And then I went and checked out some competitions and watched them. And I'm like, oh man, this is right up my alley. And so when I started competing, that's when I got to have that competitiveness back in my life. And then obviously the teaching followed. So,
yeah. And that's required, right? I mean, competition barbecue, it's a process and you have to be devoted to that process. And it has to be the same. So coming from that wrestling world, that teaching world, I mean, it must have been cookie cutter for you.
Oh man, like you couldn't hit the nail more on the head. It's all about systems. And like, when I was a coach or, like football coaches, they have a playbook.
Mm-hmm.
As a wrestling coach, especially a college wrestling coach, same way. I had a system that I coached, that I taught. And in barbecue, it's the same way. I have a system that I run, a profile that I run, and things that I do consistently every weekend. And so when I teach barbecue classes, I have that same mentality when I'm talking to people or they ask me questions, I'm coaching them. You know what I mean? And that's, sure. I love doing that.
Not everybody, listen, that's not an easy gig. I mean, never mind that you did special ed, correct? I mean, that's got to be a little bit of a calling, to do special ed. I mean, I know a lot of people that do that and they wouldn't do anything else, but like they're like called to do that. And that is a dedication and a lot of effort goes into everything you're doing here. Wrestling, that takes a lot.
Yeah. Special education for 21 years at the high school level. It's, you see it all, and sometimes it's not even the students that are the most challenging. Sometimes it's the parents,
sure.
Or your own colleagues. And it's no different in barbecue,
mm-hmm.
The people that you're cooking against, there's all kinds of things and factors and variables that go into play, that all of those things that I learned teaching for 21 years all still hold true in the barbecue world.
Yeah, I think especially in the barbecue world, like your other professions, I mean, a lot of times it's, you know, the things that stand up and smack you in the mouth that get you to have to recover from, right, to be successful. And if you don't have the ability to do that and or the process you're speaking of to stay dedicated to that process, you fail. You're not going to succeed, I should say. You know what I mean?
100%. And, you know, I've always had the mentality, whether it was as an athlete, as a teacher, as a coach, or even as a barbecue competitor. In my mind, I have to tell myself, I always have to have my own self-talk that I'm the best. That's not me being cocky. That's not that. I have to tell myself that. I don't go out and splurt that out to, you know, to the public. I don't say that publicly because that'd be arrogance, but, I have to, you know, I have a tattoo on my arm. I don't know if you can see it right here, but it says confident, not cocky.
Yep.
And my dad used to always tell me that growing up, you know, he's like, I want you to always be confident. Just don't be cocky.
Sure.
And, so I'm always confident in my abilities and what I can do as a teacher, as a barbecue competitor, whatever it is. And so I just carried that right over into the barbecue world. And when I show up to a contest, I don't even see the other teams. I feel like I'm the best one there.
Right.
So that helps me through my cook. It helps me, you know, be confident in what I'm doing and execute at a high level.
Fantastic. And you've done a lot of cooks, haven't you?
A lot of cooks.
You were very aggressive on the circuit.
I've done about 250 contests. Yeah.
That's that. Why did you feel, I don't want to ask a stupid question, but you know, it seems like there are people, they get into competition barbecue, they win it, they GC a couple items, and next thing you know, they got to go out and sell something, right? It doesn't seem like you followed that format right away. It seemed like you wanted to prove to yourself that, you know, your stuff was the best. Your process was good. Your rubs were good. And that was more important to cut your bones with that first. Is that kind of accurate?
Yes and no. I think it was just kind of like a natural progression of things that happened. It was, I think I judged like 5 contests before I even cooked one because I wanted to see behind the curtain first.
Yeah.
And then we started cooking contests, and in 2014, so about 2 years in, is when we got on the TV show Barbecue Pitmasters. And
cool.
What I saw, we were already talking about making a rub. So we were already doing that just because here's the way I look at, I look at that as probably differently than what you just described. And I've seen that a bunch of times, you know, where people go out and they win 1 contest or 2 contests, and now all of a sudden they got to come out with a product. You know what I mean? And
yep, I know what you mean.
Trust me, I've been asked that a million times. People, you know, ask me how to get started in that. And I'm like, it's not easy. But back when we started doing it, you know, there weren't that many classes going on, and there weren't as many rubs then. You know, I mean, my first one came out in 2015, 11 years ago. I mean, I can't even tell you how many more brands of products are out there now since then. But
sure.
What I'm trying to say is that I wanted to develop it for the reason of being creative. Like, you know, I was sitting there thinking, because I was already seeing into the future, like what I want to do. Like, I love I love this. This is awesome. And I want to be creative, and I want to create my own brand, and I want to, you know, and I get that from my parents. Both my parents were, you know, business owners and self-employed. And so it just kicked into me later in life. So
right.
I just saw this progression happen. I'm like, well, if I'm going to be doing this, why would I not want to win with my own stuff?
Gotcha.
And so I just started developing the first rub. And then once the first rub hit, I mean, then it just became addictive, you know, then it just became, now I want to create this one. Now I want to create this one. Now I want to create this one. And really it didn't, I guess the rub part didn't really have anything to do with winning, because didn't win the first GC until 2015, and the first rub had just come out. Mm-hmm. So actually,
what was that first rub?
So was that the all-purpose rub?
The all-purpose, yeah. It was called Love Rub back then. Yeah, it was called the Love Rub, same rub. It's just called all purpose now. But, so yeah, I mean, that's kind of the path I took.
Yeah.
And I think the first class was in 2015, after the first GC, which, as I look back on it in retrospect, maybe I started a little too quick on the classes, but for me, I was a teacher. And so there wasn't a learning curve for me on that piece of it. You know what I mean? Teaching a barbecue class to me just came natural to me. So I was able to just go out there and do it like I'd been doing it for years.
That's great.
Now, I bought your rub last night, by the way. Your
all-purpose?
I bought the all-purpose, and I bought the butter garlic.
Buttery garlic? Yeah, where'd you get them at?
I got it off your website.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I just put it in the box. I just shipped it out today.
That was me.
That was you.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Can't wait.
You teach two types of classes. You do backyard barbecue and competition barbecue. What do you do equal amounts of both, or is there one more than the other that you do? And which one do you enjoy doing more?
I probably do more backyards than I do comp classes because there's way more backyard folks out there than there are comp people.
Sure.
The comp classes are they're fun because I run it like I'm at a contest, and so it's actually a good practice for me, like good workout. But the people there are way more serious, and they're spending a lot more money to come to that class. When we're in a backyard class, we get to have a little bit more fun. It's, a little bit more laid back and relaxed. And I get to cook some stuff outside of the competition realm, which is always fun. Like next Saturday, me and my boy Smitty from Luton Booty are doing a fire and barrel beef and bourbon class. So we're doing all Wagyu beef. So we're doing Wagyu, picanha, and tomahawks and tenderloins, all paired up with whiskey. High dollar whiskey. So those are fun to do. And then the next week I'll be in Chicago, doing a live fire class with a whole alligator and pork tenderloins and making chocolate chip cookies over fire, like just doing fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you say a whole alligator? Like, how big of an alligator are we talking about?
I'm going to probably do about a 20 pounder.
Yeah.
Just because I'm doing a live fire version of it. So I'll probably be hanging it.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I've cooked about a dozen alligators in my career, and I usually cook them inside of a smoker on a tray. Mm-hmm. But this is going to be, this class is called Live Fire with Ferg. So we're doing everything over a Yoder Eldorado, like is this Santa
live?
Maria grill.
Yeah, Santa Maria.
Yeah.
Yep. Is this live fire thing? Is this any reaction to, we've been talking about this, the live fire, like it seems like trend or movement that's going on right now.
No, I think this will be like the fourth or fifth class I've taught at this store in Chicago. Yep. And so we were just looking for something different and new to do for his customers.
Yeah.
And he's really pushing the Eldorado from Yoder. Mm-hmm. So Yoder's actually going to be there with me. And we're just going to be having some fun promoting that product and doing a lot of cool things over live fire.
That's showcasing that grill and then what you can do with it.
Yeah. Showcasing that grill. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We had Al on our show, and we get a lot of kickback, just a lot of comments from our New England competition folks, right? Because they're just like, oh, live fire, it might as well say you're grilling, Why
don't you do burgers and dogs?
and I'm like, saying live fire is like grilling is like saying, barbecue competitions like putting something in the oven, right? Yeah. It's not, it's a lot more than that. And I happen to love live fire, and, everybody picks on me and says, oh, you just like the contraptions. And I do. I love it.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. It's a different way of cooking. Like, I love doing caveman cooking and putting meat right on the coals and doing different things like that. It's like I said, I'm a barbecue competition guy. I love that. That's my thing. But being able to do other things outside of that and cooking in all different contraptions and different ways of doing it.
Yep.
That's what makes barbecuing so popular and so fun.
Yeah, sure. Let me lean on you as a teacher for a minute. Can you tell me, is there a certain Is there a certain thing that judges are looking for? Can you categorize a judge, or even maybe categorize judges by region that say, hey, when you cook, you want to be looking to cook like this because judges are looking for it? Is there something like that, or no?
Well, to answer the second part of the question first, no, I don't. There's no regional, when it comes to KCBS competition barbecue, there's no regional rule. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to run the same box in Texas that I'll run in Kansas City. I'll run the same box in Rhode Island that I'll run in California. You know what I mean? It's, I'm going to run the same thing. That's the whole foundation of this game is consistency. And if you get away from that and you start doing that stuff that you're talking about, where I'm in Louisiana, so I'm gonna, or I'm in North Carolina, I'm gonna add a little bit more vinegar sauce in here. People will come up to me, other teams, and I know it's usually to try to get me to throw me off my game. But I remember one time we were in Wisconsin,
a psychological
like,
game.
Oh yeah, we were in Wisconsin. They're like, I heard, are you going to turn in burn ends? And I'm like, I said, yeah. This is back when I still turned in burn ends, and they're like, "Oh, I heard the judges don't like burn ends here." I go, I don't care. I'm still going to turn them in.
Yep.
And I got second in brisket. You know what I mean? So it's I don't pay attention to that. I focus on my profile, my set, my program, and I run it. Yep. And if I run it 15 times in 15 different states, and it hits 10 of those, I'm good.
Yep.
There you go.
Let's talk about your program for a second. How long did it take you to get your program where you wanted it? Obviously you didn't just throw it all out there. It's a project, just like you're teaching some kid to wrestle. He's got to go through the basics and then move up till he's an expert. How was the process for you getting your program together?
Yeah. So lots of trial and error, lots of failure. Lots of, scratching your head at the end of a contest, and wondering what you did wrong. And I think the ultimate thing that it came down to was understanding tenderness. And because you get judged on appearance, taste, and tenderness, but and taste is obviously the highest weighted score, but tenderness is the second highest. And if you don't, and that's the last one they judge, if you don't hit that, then you're never gonna score, right? You gotta, if it's too tight, if it's mushy, if you can't find that in between and hit it just right, to me, I think that's the essence of comp barbecue is, people always make this joke about, what defines a pitmaster? You know what I mean? They're always like, why are these people calling themselves pitmasters? Well, you got to understand how to control it and how to cook it. And even if you're cooking on a pellet cooker, you don't necessarily have to control a fire, but you have to understand what is that fire and that heat doing to your protein, and when is that protein done with that heat and that fire? When is it done? You know what I mean? Like, and understanding how to hold it and what's that texture going to be when you're getting ready to slice it and put it in a box and turn it into a judge. All of those things are so crucial to consistent success. And, it took me, I like I said, I started in 2012 and didn't win the first GC till 2015. So 3.5 years before the first time I got to hear my name called for first place.
It's probably like 50 cooks.
And that's a long time.
Yeah, that's probably like 50. That was probably 3 years. Is probably like 50 cooks you probably went through to get to that.
It probably could have been around that. It may not have been quite that many, but I just, I just had to figure out that textural thing.
Sure.
And what they were looking for. And the cool thing is though, is once you win one, then you just build from there, and you have to keep up with the times too. Like that COVID year, I didn't cook at all until the World Championships, but I just kept hearing lots of different teams that were coming in the store. Like, oh man, they're, nowadays they're liking a more smoky sauce on your chicken, and just listen to these little things, you know what I mean? And make a couple tweaks but you don't want to chase your tail. You don't, you go regionally. Oh, I'm gonna do this. You do that, you're screwed.
Yep.
Like,
because it'll be different. It'll be different every time, right? There won't be any.
Well, if you're going to improve, you're going to change something. It's fine. Change one thing. Don't change a couple things because now you don't know. right? It's like a combination lock. I mean, I had a conversation with a competitive barbecue guy, and it was on, it was actually a teammate of ours. We opened up a competition team this year, just mostly for marketing and have some fun. And, you know, when things were a little bit confusing, the way we felt, some of the food we turned in compared to what the judges scored. And like they had this, what they considered a brainstorm. They were like, hey, wouldn't it be great if there was a way you can take some goats, right? A Bill Gillespie to come in, or if they were there to taste your food, and then have him give you his opinion compared to the judges. And I kept trying to reflect back on him. It doesn't matter. You got to know your food. You have to taste your food. You have to understand what your food's doing, because you'll know, like you said, when you hit, you know, when it scores and it's good, you'll know, and you build from there. And if it doesn't, it happens. But you know, having a controversy between a judging group and a competition supporters is not going to help you. It's knowing your own food.
Yeah, and you got to find your groove, and you know, that's why I think you were going to ask me this earlier about why cooking so many contests. You know, I got into that phase of chasing team of the year points, and the only way you're going to, you know, win team of the year is you got to cook 30, 40, or 50 a year.
Sure. Yeah.
And I did that for about 4 or 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
And I went hard. And the last year that I went team of the year points was, I think I did 41 that season. That was the most I've ever done. But you know, when you're cooking that many times in a year, you get into a groove. Sure. You get into a routine, because, you know, there's 52 weeks and you're cooking 41 of them.
Right.
And so you're spending, you know, 80% of your time in a parking lot or a park somewhere in the US.
Yeah. You must lose where you are sometimes.
Yeah. And so it just becomes repetitive, and it becomes second nature. You just go there, and it's like pushing a button and going, you know what I mean? Like, okay, let's start the music, and here we go. We're going to run it, and we're going to see if it's going to hit today. And you go to awards, and, you know, pretty soon you start to see this groove. Like I think there was one summer where I think I won 3 GCs in a row, and another one where I had like 4 RGCs in a row. And I'm like, hey man, I'll take this every weekend. You know what I mean? Like, and when you get in that groove and you build that confidence, it's hard to screw up. You know what I mean? Like, it's, people always ask that, you know, like, are you afraid to mess this up or mess that up? I'm like, it's kind of hard to do that when you're cooking at our level. When you're cooking that many times, it's hard to mess something up, because you're just running the routine, and you know what's going to happen. It's the same meats. You cook every weekend. You're doing the same thing. You're running the same time frame. You know exactly when it's going to happen, and you're stress free. So it's just, you're just doing your thing.
Right.
And that's when you become a very dangerous cook.
Yeah. And you must obviously, you know, by finally getting in that groove, like you said, now I know when my food is good, because I know what it should taste like, and you know how the tenderness is. So you can tell when you've turned in your good stuff.
Yes. And that's regardless of how the judges judge it. Like, and I get asked this question, or I have this conversation a lot in my comp classes. I'll ask everybody, like, how many comps have you cooked, this and that, and they'll go around and they'll tell me, oh, we've only done 5 or whatever. And then it happens at every comp class I do. Somebody says, oh, we were at the this one contest against you and you won, or whatever. And then they make this vital comment. They say, well, we thought we turned in really good food that day, but the judges disagreed. And right there, I say to them, what do you mean? And they'll look at me with this puzzled look on their face, and they're like, I said, what do you mean? And I go, how do you know you turned in good food? How do you know that?
Yeah.
And then again, they still don't have an answer for me. And then I use that as that teaching moment, and I say to them, I go, how many contests have you cooked total in your career? And the answer is always like 3, 4. Yeah. I said, you have not cooked enough to know what good is. Yeah. I said, that is not a negative comment on you at all. That's just the reality of this game that we're playing. And when you've only cooked 3 times, you don't know what that means. You don't know what good means. Mm-hmm. And when you've cooked as many times as I have, like you just said, I know when I turn in good food. I know when it's awesome. I know when that tenderness is there. I know when the flavor is always going to be there because I cook it the same way every time. But that tenderness mark, you got to hit that. You got to be on your game to do that. And you know it. And if it goes to the judges and they don't score you right, hey man, that's just how this game is. That's how this game is played. And I'll run it again next week.
Yep.
Do you have
a
famous horror story of one of your cooks that stands out in your head? Like there must have been some competition where almost everything went wrong.
Well, I mean, my very first contest I ever cooked, we had like 3 10x10 tents set up, and it was an October contest, and it was like a full on thunderstorm, like pouring rain, wind, rain's coming in on the smokers. And remember, this is our first cook, so I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
I thought I did.
Yeah.
But I knew that I wanted to drink beer and cook barbecue, but I was not ready for all of that. But I mean, I don't know that I've ever. I had one contest. It was a double in St. Roberts, Missouri, and this is only a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and it was day one of a double, and I'm prepping my pork box and doing what I always do, and I'm watching the clock. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm only 10 seconds from the turn in. I'm good, and I got caught up in the box, and I grabbed it and I started to walk up, and two competitors are coming back, and they go, you missed it, Ferg. And I go, no, I thought they were just, messing with me. And I got up there, and sure enough, I was like 2 seconds late.
Oh, wow.
First turn in I ever missed in my career. And I came back and I threw the box against the wall. That was pleasant. But I still had to turn in brisket. So I still had to man up. And here's what sucked is on day one, I think I got a chicken call and I got a rib call. I didn't get a brisket call, but it was like just out of the top 10. So had my pork been in the game, I
would
have scored very well. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's day two, I think I came back and got 5th overall. So, I've never missed a turn in again since then.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably the most disastrous thing that's ever happened to me in comp barbecue.
All right. There.
I don't know of anything that could be worse than missing a turn in.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So tell us about your brand a little bit. I mean, Fergalicious, where'd that come from? Whose brainchild was that?
So my last name is Fergola.
Yes.
And ever since I was 10 years old, my nickname has been Fergie.
Okay.
And so if you look at my TikTok page, it says I was Fergie before Fergie was, because I'm older than Stacey Ferguson, but she's actually the reason why I could not trademark Fergalicious as well. But it was just a natural thing. It was Fergie, but my youngest son, he's almost 22 now, but when he was 6, he was actually sitting in the back seat, and my wife and I at the time were in the front seats, obviously, and we were driving by, and there was a empty restaurant in the town we lived in, and we drove by it, and just out of nowhere, his name's Rocco, but out of nowhere, Rocco goes, "Hey, Daddy, you should buy that restaurant and call it Fergalicious BBQ."
There you go. And
I was like, I looked at him, I looked at my wife at the time, and I said, how the heck did our 6-year-old know what Fergalicious was? Because there was the song before that. And I'm like, that's my team name right there. Yeah. So, like I said, about 2.5 years ago, rebranded to Richard Fergola BBQ. Obviously that's what's on my hat here that I'm wearing.
Yep.
So this is my brand logo, but, all my rubs stayed the same, same recipe, same profile. I just changed the names and the labels. So, I've got 6 rubs. We talked about the all-purpose earlier. That was my first one. That's been out 11 years now, and still going.
How many SKUs do you have? How many different rubs do you have?
Rubs. I have 6 rubs. And I have sauces.
Okay.
And then I have some other merchandise too, some accessories that I have, but that I branded. But 6 rubs. So I got my all-purpose. And then I've got my sweet rub, which is my main competition rub.
Right.
It's kind of a honey with a little bit of a peach note to it, but that goes on my chicken, my ribs, my pork. Then the third one that came out was my honey habanero. And that rub is a perfect example of how changing the name has helped its sales, because before it was called honey habanero, it was called Red Hot Love.
Okay.
And it was probably my worst seller when it was called that.
Yeah.
And now it's called honey habanero. Now it's become one of my best sellers. And it's a fantastic rub. I use that on my brisket, and I use it as a finishing dust in my ribs. Then after that, I came out with my buttery garlic, which is you got that coming your way.
Can't wait.
It's a salt, pepper, garlic, butter, and citrus. And I use it on my ribs. I use it on my pork. I use it on my brisket. It's phenomenal all-purpose rub too. Like, you can use it on whatever you want, but when you put it on beef, it really, really shines.
That's great.
Really shines. Then the apple cherry followed that. That's one of my rubs that I feel like it's like no other rub out on the market. It's
that was
like
the other
a
one that
sweet,
really
sweet
caught my
savour.
eye. Yeah, that one caught my eye. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic on chicken wings, on pork, on ribs, on turkey. I even like to put it on top of ice cream, vanilla ice cream.
Come on.
Oh, wow. See?
That's a true story.
See?
It happened. Yeah, it's
All
a true
right, you're
story.
right.
It happened at a contest.
Yeah. That was our argument, right? We were sitting here, we're talking about, a person like yourself, right? And you're entrepreneurial. You go out there, you create these rubs, and you go out, you market, you got to sell them. Okay. Now you get, Ace Hardware goes out and buys a bunch for their chain in one state. You're not done. You got to keep marketing, because that guy's got to sell it to the end user, right? And,
Yes.
we started talking about, hey, screw these competition barbecue folks, because they're this much of the market, right? You need to get it. So we were talking, obviously the next step is the backyard people, because there's a lot more of them. And I was joking around, and I said, you almost got to be like a good humor truck. You got to get that rub off the barbecue into the kitchen, right? Because it's got to be the wife that wants to put it on the cauliflower, or the broccoli, or wherever, on the ice cream. Because, and right away it was like, well, what wife's going to Ace Hardware in the first place? I'm like,
I did
my
say
wife
that.
goes to Ace Hardware all the time. She's buying the bird seed, the soil she's there more than I am every day of the week. But that's where the masses are, right? And you want to appeal that brand to the masses, not just competition barbecue folks, because they'll get it. They know you. They know your expertise. They'll buy it and they'll try it. And but that's such a small sliver of the market.
Well, that's a great point. And I think 2 years ago, I started, a lot of these brands they'll sponsor teams, with their products, and most of them are all competition teams. And I kind of went the other direction, and I started what's called Ferg's Family. And I reached out, I put it out there, and really I didn't want any competition teams. I had a bunch of competition teams come back, and I'm like,
Really?
I said, that's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is you cooking on your grill in your backyard, or cooking in your kitchen, in your stove, or on your oven, stove or oven.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for, because what people don't get, not everybody falls under this, but some people think, oh, these are barbecue rubs, I can only barbecue with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you can just cook. I can make spaghetti. I can go upstairs right now and make spaghetti and use my honey habanero and my buttery garlic, you know what I mean? And never break out one grill.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was trying to get across at the Ferg's Family. And I think everybody that's part of Ferg's Family, and I'll give them a shout out to all of them right now, is they really took my products and really pushed them in the kitchen. Of course, I was doing the same thing. And that's what I'm looking at. Because the comp guys are always going to be there. And my rubs they're always going to be successful in the comp scene. I know that because I developed them. So it's they're always going to do well there. But yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah. I mean, that's where for me, that's where the market is.
Well, it's the versatility, right? The versatility.
Yeah, versatility. That's
appeals
like
to
with the
many
apple
more
cherry.
people. Yep.
Yeah, with that apple cherry, I was at a contest in Nebraska in one July, and it was like 105 out, and nobody wanted to go outside. They all stayed in their trailers because of AC, and had some vanilla ice cream. And sprinkled ice like apple, cherry, put it on ice cream. Why not?
Yeah.
And it was great.
It was
and
a
so
hit.
I actually have that on the bottle, on the apple cherry bottle. It says all the things it's good on. At the bottom, it has ice cream,
That's great.
which then leads me to the last rub, which is the butter pecan.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also a rub that is like no other on the shelf.
Yep.
The buttery garlic and the butter pecan is available in 2,000 Home Depots nationwide. But if you look on that bottle, it's got a picture of a cookie on the bottom because I actually mix it into my chocolate chip cookie dough.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
you get that
I
little
wish I
extra
knew that.
nuttiness.
I made.
Well,
I cooked on a large skillet on my grill for my sisters, and I did caramelized peaches
Nice.
with pecans, and then when it
Yeah.
was off
That
the
would've
grill,
been
I threw
perfect.
some ice cream on it. That would have been perfect on there. You know?
That would have been perfect.
Yep.
well, I apologize, sir.
No,
You
well,
were-
I'm just
you
saying,
were-
it's like that's the retail end of
You're not
it.
going to hear me say this a lot, folks, but he was right and I was wrong.
So, Richard, what's coming up for you? What's the future hold for Richard Fergola?
Well, just talking about the rubs, I just came out with sauces like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
My apple chipotle and my sweet and smoky, and so I've been really working hard at pushing them.
Yeah.
And then I came out with some gloves, and so really working on that. I'm getting ready to my new website's about ready to come out. I mean, I think it's already live, but we're finishing up some stuff. It's got a whole new look. It looks fantastic. And I got classes coming up. I got San Diego next weekend. I got Chicago. Then I'm in Missouri. Then I'm in Cleveland.
Oh, we got to get you up this way. We got to
get you up New England.
Yeah, me and Billy have tried. Several times. We were going to do a collab comp class up in that area.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
And we just haven't found. Yeah, we
just
haven't
to get
found,
numbers.
So Fergalicious BBQ.com is my website, and if you go there, you can click on learn barbecue. Go to all my classes. You can see all that stuff. The online class link is on there. My rubs, my sauces, my gloves, all my merch, everything's available at fergaliciousbarbecue.com. And then obviously I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok,
Yes.
all at Fergalicious BBQ. So if you want to know anything that's happening with my brand or where I'm at, just follow me there and you'll be along for the ride. Yeah. So next Saturday, July 18th, me and Sterling Smith from Loot and Booty Barbecue will be at West Coast Barbecue Shop in Chula Vista, California. It's the Fire and Barrel Beef and Bourbon class. We're going to be doing Wagyu beef and some high-level bourbon. You can still register at westcoastbarbecueshop.com. Check that out there if you want to get a seat to that area.
Excellent.
Well, we may have some.
Tommy.
We may have some people we may know.
Yeah.
Out on the West Coast.
Yeah, we do.
We can spread that around.
Okay.
All right, Richard. Well, thank you very much for sharing your time today. This is great. I know our audience is going to love this, and we wish you all the best. Maybe we'll see you out the West Coast on that class coming up, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on you. And I don't know, maybe if you ever come this way, please hit us up on Instagram. We'd love to see you and meet you, take you out for a libation, right? But for sure,
meet some friends of ours.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
By the way, you're a made guy now. Just so you know,
I'm a made guy. I love
you're
it.
a made guy.
he's like the only one that gets it.
Yeah, you're Italian, so other people we come on, they're like, "What did I make?"
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I
That's
love
awesome. Wow, Vin, every time we do these interviews, it seems like one leading into the other in terms of how fantastic they are.
Yeah, Richard's a great
Richard
guy.
was no surprise, and
Yeah.
he did a great job.
Yeah, we gotta figure that secret sauce out. We gotta figure out how to get the marketing of barbecue rubs and sauces out of just talking about it and into the kitchens. There is definitely a formula there we could break.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
And this guy's all about that, and he's going that way. So it was great talking to him, and getting a feel for his whole process and how it got started. And great interview.
Excellent. Richard, thank you again. Folks, thanks for being here. Thanks for everything you do for us. You're great. You're a great audience. Keep it up. A lot more good stuff coming forward.
Absolutely. Adios, friends.
Have a great week.
from backyard